Today I'm sharing essential tips that nobody tells you before starting your Airbnb business. Most hosts focus on basic stuff like nice sheets or coffee makers, but after hosting hundreds of guests and managing multiple properties, I've discovered some game-changing strategies that nobody talks about. Tip number 3 alone increased my bookings by 47%, and it's something that most hosts completely overlooked. And if you stick around till the end, I'm also going to tell you about the 4 most important mistakes to avoid as a brand new host on Airbnb. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is premium amenities that guests don't expect. Look, everyone does the basic stuff, right? But here's what changed everything for me: an HD movie projector. I know it sounds simple, but listen up. When I installed one of these for the first time in one of my properties, the guest reviews went crazy. We're talking $200 to $300, but here's why it works. Guests love having the movie theater experience right at home. Think about it. They're on vacation, maybe together with family or with their partner, and they can snuggle up and watch a movie on the big screen. But guys, it's not just about the projector. I'm talking high-end coffee machines, smart thermostats, premium sound systems. These aren't just random amenities, they're strategic investments that, depending on your listing and your ideal guest, let you charge more per night and get better reviews. You don't need to spend a fortune and go high-end on everything, but a few strategic amenity upgrades can make a huge difference. This next tip is something I wish I knew when I first got started. You know what's the fastest way to kill your Airbnb business? Noise complaints. But here's what nobody tells you. You can prevent them before they happen. I started installing noise monitoring devices like NoiseAware or Minute in my properties. Now, these don't record anything. They just measure noise levels. But here's the game changer. When noise levels get too high, you get an alert before the neighbors complain. Here's how I mention it in my listing. Property is equipped with noise monitoring system for guest privacy and neighborhood consideration. Guests actually appreciate this because it shows that you're a professional. Now, this third tip is crucial, and it's where I see a lot of new hosts mess up all the time. They look at other listings, copy their prices, and wonder why they're not getting any bookings. Here's what I learned the hard way. You need to start 20% below market rate for your first 3 bookings at least. I know what you're thinking. James, that's leaving money on the table. But here's the thing. Those first reviews are worth more than the extra money. In this business, 0 reviews means 0 trust. I've tested this across multiple properties and it works every single time. Once you get those first few 5-star reviews, that's when you can start raising your prices. You've got to be strategic about it though. I'm talking small increases, maybe 10% at a time while you watch your booking rate to make sure bookings don't dry up. All right, now let's talk about something that literally changed my entire business. It's called the perfect review strategy. Most hosts just hope for good reviews, but I've developed a system that consistently gets 5-star reviews like clockwork. Here's what no one tells you. The first hour of check-in is when guests form their entire opinion about you and your listing. I learned this after hosting over 500 guests. My secret? Well, for starters, make sure your cleaners absolutely nail everything and the listing is spotless. You also want to have a perfect check-in guide that walks guests through everything. And guys, I mean everything, from where to park, to how to use the coffee machine, to how to access the Wi-Fi, all of it. But here's the real game changer. I immediately send them a message asking if everything meets their expectations. Why? Because if there's an issue, you can fix it before it becomes a bad review. Trust me, this simple system has kept my properties consistently receiving 5 stars. Now, this next tip might sound counterintuitive, but stick with me. When you're starting out, you want to set a 2-night minimum stay. Not 1 night, not 3 nights, exactly 2 nights. Here's why. 1-night stays are brutal on your cleaning schedule and usually attract party bookings. But 3-night minimums, that's going to kill your booking rate as a new host. I tested this across multiple properties, and 2 nights is the sweet spot for building your review base. The only exception, major events and holidays. That's when you can maybe bump it up to 3 to 4 nights as a minimum. But for your first few months, stick to 2 nights as much as you possibly can. This next tip right here could save your entire business. You need a solid guest screening system. I'm going to share my exact process that's protected my properties from thousands of potential bad bookings. The key is to look for red flags, like for example, a guest with 0 reviews that wants to book same day, or a local guest within 20 miles of your property, or vague responses about the purpose of their stay. But here's the key. You can't just decline everyone. You need to ask the right questions, like what brings you to the area? How many guests will be staying? Simple questions, but the responses tell you everything you need to know. Let me tell you something. A perfect cleaning system is what separates successful hosts from those who burn out. After managing multiple properties, I developed a bulletproof system for this. First, you need about a 50-point cleaning checklist. I'll share more about ours in just a sec, but here's the secret sauce. Take photos after every single cleaning. Why? Because when a guest claims something was dirty, you now have the proof of the condition at check-in. If it was dirty, you can follow up with your cleaner and hold them accountable. If not, you now have legs to stand on. Pro tip, if you really want to go above and beyond, you can use UV lights to check for stains that regular cleaning might miss. Yeah, it's a bit extra, but this level of detail is what gets you those sparkling clean reviews. Now, this is where most new hosts also get crushed. You need a solid cash flow plan. Here's the reality. In your first 3 months, you have more expenses than revenue, almost always. I'm talking about supplies, furniture, it adds up. My rule, have at least 3 months of expenses saved before you start. And here's something that nobody talks about. You need separate accounts for your Airbnb business. One for each property so nothing gets mixed up. Trust me, your accountant will thank you later. Now, this next tip is absolutely crucial, and I see so many hosts get this wrong. You need a clear professional rule book. But here's the thing, it's not just about having rules, it's also about how you communicate them. Here's what I learned after hosting thousands of guests. Don't call them rules, call them home guidelines. Sounds simple, right? But psychology matters here. I tested this and compliance literally went up just by changing the name. Now, here's another pro tip. Put your most important rules in 3 places: the listing, the check-in message, and the house manual. Why? Because people actually read things when they're repeated in different contexts. All right, now this next tip will make sure that you're actually able to launch. Before you host your first guest, you need to talk to your neighbors. I learned this the hard way when I first started. Here's what I do now. I give all my neighbors my direct phone number. And I tell them, if you ever have any concerns, call me before calling anyone else. This one move has prevented so many potential issues. But here's the game changer. I also give my neighbors a small gift card or small little gift, like a gift card to a local coffee shop when I start. It might cost you 20 bucks, but having neighbors on your side, now that's priceless. Okay, now here's another tip that's absolutely vital. Your check-in process can make or break your entire business. After testing literally every possible check-in method, here's what works. Smart locks are non-negotiable, but here's what most people don't tell you. You need a backup entry method. I learned this when a guest's phone died at 2 a.m. and they still couldn't access the property with the digital key. Pro tip, you can create a check-in video walking them through everything from parking to working the TV. This one move reduced my guest messages by over 50% initially when I first implemented it. Now, I know this isn't the most exciting tip, but trust me, this one could save you thousands of dollars. You need to get your legal ducks in a row before you start hosting. Here's another thing that very few people ever talk about. Local regulations can change overnight. I've seen hosts get shut down because they didn't have the right permits. Don't skip this step. Check these 3 things. 1, local short-term rental regulations. Number 2, HOA rules if you have them. And then number 3, your insurance policy. Your regular homeowner's insurance policy isn't enough. You need a specific short-term rental policy. Now, before we talk about the biggest mistakes that you need to avoid, I need to tell you something important. You know all these systems and strategies I just shared? I spent years developing them, testing them, and perfecting them across hundreds of properties. And here's the thing. I kept seeing the same questions coming up over and over again from hosts. People struggling with pricing, dealing with difficult guests, trying to optimize their listing. That's exactly why I created B&B Tribe. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I made every mistake in the book when I first started. I lost money, I dealt with terrible guests, I had properties sitting empty, but I documented everything I learned along the way, and now I've turned it into a complete system that any host can follow. One of our B&B Tribe members recently went from getting occasional bookings here and there to 3 to 5 bookings per week in just 2 weeks. Another member just landed a $30,000 booking for 10 nights over the holidays. Now, these aren't just some random success stories. This is what happens when you have the right systems in place. Here's exactly what you get when you join B&B Tribe. You get my complete template library, the same ones I use in my own properties. You get regular live calls where I solve real hosting problems. You get a supportive community of actual hosts. You get our Listing Genius AI tool. You get the exact cleaning checklist I use for my listings, plus over 50 other tools and so much more. But here's the crazy part. I'm offering all of this for just $49 per month. That's literally less than one night's booking on most properties. And I'm so confident this will help and be of value to you that I'm offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're serious about building a profitable Airbnb business and having a whole lot more fun hosting, click the link in the description below to join B&B Tribe. But don't wait too long. We're going to be increasing prices as we add in more resources, so join now. Now, before we wrap up, I want to share 5 crucial mistakes that I see new hosts make all the time. Trust me, avoiding these alone could save you thousands of dollars and countless headaches. Now, first up, underpricing your cleaning fees. Look, I get it. You want to keep your prices competitive, but here's what nobody tells you. Underpricing your cleaning fees will literally eat up your profits so quickly. You need to calculate everything, your supplies, your labor, your time between bookings. And here's a pro tip, factor in those emergency cleanings when guests check out late. Trust me, they happen more often than you might think, so it's good to have them factored in ahead of time. Second mistake, over furnishing initially. I see so many new hosts dropping thousands on fancy furniture before getting their first booking. Here's what I learned the hard way. Start with quality essentials and let your guests tell you what else they need. Remember guys, every extra item is something that can break, need cleaning or maintenance, so start relatively minimal, add based on the actual feedback you get from guests. This alone saved me over $3,000 on my latest property that I set up. Now, third mistake, rigid cancellation policies. Now, this is controversial, but hear me out. As a new host with 0 reviews, a strict cancellation policy may not be the best way to go. It depends on the market you're in, but you may want to start with a more flexible policy just until you build up reviews. Yes, you might lose some bookings to cancellations, but the increased booking volume will make up for it. Now, I don't normally recommend this, but once you're starting out, it can be great, and then you can tighten up your policy once you're more established. The fourth mistake I see is poor response time habits. This mistake right here could ruin your superhost chances before you even start. You need a good system for guest messages. Have notifications and alerts, have message templates, everything set up. As a pro tip, set up a separate notification sound for Airbnb messages. When I started doing this, my response time went to under 5 minutes and my booking rates went up. And the final mistake is inadequate guest screening. And this is so crucial. Don't just accept every booking that comes across your way, even though you might be tempted to do so when you first get started. Here's my quick screening checklist. Check their reviews, verify their profile, and always ask about the purpose of their trip. Yes, you might lose some bookings, but one bad guess can cost you thousands in damages and setbacks. And remember, trust your gut. If something feels off about a booking request, it probably is. All right, there you have it. My top 12 tips for starting your Airbnb business the right way, plus the crucial mistakes you need to avoid. Now, if you found the video valuable, then make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Remember, if you want to take your Airbnb business to the next level, click the link down below in the description to join B&B Tribe. The community is waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.